The Clockmaker's Secret, a mystery featuring Elijah Quinn, London, 1907. The fog curled like a cat through the narrow alleys of Clerkenwell, muffling hoofbeats and blurring the glow of gas lamps. It was a quiet morning, the kind that carried secrets on its breath. Elijah Quinn, just 23, coat too big, notebook in his breast pocket, stepped off a tram with one thing on his mind: clocks. Not the kind you check for the hour, the kind that stop, the kind that whisper. Scene 1, a quiet tragedy. The shop was nestled between a cobbler and a tobacconist, Bellamy and Son, horologists. Except there was no son, there never had been. The bell above the door didn't chime when Elijah entered. The shop was silent, save for the distant tick of a grandfather clock. Elijah had read about Mr. Horace Bellamy's death in the Morning Gazette. Esteemed craftsman found dead in own shop, natural causes suspected. But Elijah never believed in natural causes when clocks had stopped ticking. Behind the counter stood a constable, arms crossed, bored. "I'm afraid we're closed today, sir," the constable said. Elijah nodded. Yes, closed permanently, it would seem. Tragic. Heart gave out, they think. Who found him? Apprentice. Young fellow. Samuel Finch. Bit shaken, poor lad. Came in yesterday and found Mr. Bellamy slumped over his workbench. No signs of struggle. Just gone. And the clock? Elijah pointed to a tall, ornate piece in the corner. Oh, that old thing? Stopped at exactly 3:12, probably when he passed. Elijah said nothing. He approached the clock, eyes narrowing. The hands pointed to 3:12, yes, but the winding key was missing, and the dust around the base was scuffed as though someone had turned it recently. He scribbled in his notebook, then, almost absent-mindedly, clicked open his pocket watch and noted the time. 9:47 a.m. Scene 2, the whisper in the workshop. Bellamy's workshop was tidy. Too tidy. On the workbench sat a half-disassembled pocket watch. To its side, a cup of tea, cold, and a small burn mark on the wooden floor, circular, about the size of a shilling. Elijah crouched, inspecting it. "Odd place for a fire," he murmured. From the shadows a voice startled him. "I didn't mean to frighten you." A pale, wiry young man stood in the doorway. Samuel Finch, the apprentice. "You're not police?" Finch added. "They were in and out in 20 minutes. "Elijah Quinn," he said softly. "Private inquiry. Unofficial." "Well, I suppose that's better than nothing." They spoke briefly. Samuel insisted Bellamy had no enemies. Lived alone. Trusted no one. But something in his voice made Elijah pause. He clicked open his pocket watch. "You said you arrived at 9 o'clock yesterday." "Yes." "And the body was still warm?" Yes, I think so." "Then Bellamy could not have died at 3:12. "What?" "The body doesn't stay warm for 6 hours. That clock was tampered with." Finch blinked, then hesitated. "There is one thing. Yesterday morning I overheard Mr. Bellamy arguing with someone, a woman. They were in the back room. What was said? Not much. Just a whisper. Something like, 'You said it would be mine.' And then silence." Elijah's hand moved instinctively to his notebook. A whisper, a fragment, truth. He wrote, "You said it would be mine. Female voice, argument before death." Scene 3, the missing watch. Elijah took a slow walk through Bellamy's private room, now cold and locked. He wasn't allowed inside, not officially, but he noticed something odd through the glass pane. An empty display pedestal. Dust outlined the shape of a missing item. "What used to be there?" he asked Finch. His personal pocket watch. He made it himself, said it was the finest piece he ever built, never left the shop without it. But he died with empty hands, Elijah said. A piece was missing. The watch had been taken, but by whom and why? He turned to leave, but paused at the door. Did Mr. Bellamy have any family? Only a niece, I think. Miss Lillian Trent. Used to visit around Christmas. Haven't seen her this year. Scene 4. Tea with Lillian Trent. Lillian Trent lived in a well-kept boarding house off Holloway Road. She wore a dark green coat and a weary smile. "I'm sorry," she said, after Elijah introduced himself. "I haven't seen Uncle Horace in months. He passed away 3 days ago." Her eyes widened. But the shock wasn't quite right. Elijah filed that away. "Did he ever promise you anything from the shop?" he asked, casually sipping the tea she had offered. "He mentioned I might inherit something, but only if I could appreciate craftsmanship. I didn't understand it." "Do you wear a watch, Miss Trent?" "Of course." She lifted her wrist. It was a newer timepiece, too modern. Not Bellamy's, but her teacup clinked too loud. Her hand had trembled slightly. Elijah stood, excused himself, and walked back into the fog. Scene 5. Secrets in the Clock. That night, Elijah returned to the shop. He'd borrowed a set of keys from a distracted constable. It wasn't legal, but the truth often required tactless entry. He went to the grandfather clock. The one stopped at 3:12. He pulled open the back. Inside, where the gears ticked slowly, was a false panel. Behind it, a velvet pouch, and in it, Bellamy's missing pocket watch. Elijah opened it. The back plate had a strange engraving, "For the one who listens." He smiled, and then he noticed it. A faint trace of powder near the winding mechanism. Not dust. Powdered poison, the kind that lingers on skin. Bellamy had been poisoned, but not through drink or food. He had been poisoned by touch, by winding his own watch. Scene 6. The final clockwork. Back at Miss Trent's flat, Elijah returned, not unannounced. "You came back," she said, confused. "I found the watch," he replied. She stilled. "I never said it was the watch you were meant to inherit," he continued. "But you knew, because you took it after he died. You're mad. You argued with him, overheard by the apprentice. He refused to give it to you, said you hadn't earned it. So you slipped in after hours, took the key from his coat, and laced the winding stem with thallium powder. That's absurd." "Not at all. You told him you'd wind it for him, as a favor. You poisoned the very thing he loved most. You have no proof. I have the time." He pulled the watch from his pocket. "It stopped at 3:12. You thought it would frame the time of death, but Mr. Finch found the body at 9 a.m. still warm. The lie was poorly wound. You can't prove I touched it." "No," Elijah said, "but you'll find the watch case bears your fingerprint, right over the poison." She went silent. Outside, the bell of a distant church struck 10. The police took Lillian Trent into custody that evening. "Poison is a coward's weapon," they said. But Elijah had a different thought. "Poison," he wrote in his notebook, "is a clock with no tick. You don't hear it working. You just wake up and time has stopped." He folded his coat, returned the notebook to his pocket, and stepped into the fog. Another case closed. Another whisper heard.